So if your question was why do I not have Justin or CJ on my team anymore? You know, ag- your disbelief in that is just as strong as mine.
Please be the version of you in my head.
All right, man. It's good to have you on the show.
Dude, thanks for having me. Finally, I'm ready to finally get into this.
This has been a crazy trade deadline. I've been wanting to get your thoughts as one of the people involved in this. So, how are you feeling so far about your team and the rebuild?
Man. What can I not say about my team? I'm feeling good. I think the rebuild was going well. And let's just say things happened to the point where couldn't say no. And it went from a steady, I'm going to be a good team next year to, oh, this would be irresponsible to not take. And so my trade deadline week, I got really busy because
Yeah.
things had to be taken advantage of, and I think they were.
And I think that leads us to a good segue here. Let me figure out how to share my screen, but we can go over this trade that you just went
No,
through.
man.
One of the original nicotine ninjas here.
No, no.
So you should be able to see this here.
Let me full screen this so I can
Yeah,
see it a
got
little
the
better.
facts of the
Yeah,
case up.
yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's get into
So,
this one.
did you draft Justin Herbert?
Oh, this is evil. You know the answer to that question. This is bad
What
journalism. This is leaving the witness.
what
No,
what made you pull the
it,
trigger?
this this is the last member of the original, and I forget what my team name was at the time. It was some, I don't remember what it was. He's the original Arrakis Ruckus. He's the original Nicotine Ninja, and he's no longer a
And
Nicotine
then who
Ninja.
was the other? You had another young quarterback as well on that team, right? Is he still on the roster?
CJ Stroud is no longer.
Yeah. So, what kind of came in to build pulling the trigger on this? Were there other trade opportunities? What's the
I
story behind this? Mm.
if you would have told me when I drafted those two players, I would have said I'll never trade either of these guys. And
They've both
um,
seen a lot of value change, kind of in
they
different
have,
stories.
they have. Justin Herbert was a guy I almost sold low on 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. CJ was my original untouchable. His value was incredibly high at one point, and it kind of tapered. Though I'll tell you, the one that really hurts to lose is not. I think it's CJ because I know I sold low on CJ.
Yeah.
And the circumstances behind me not having CJ, obviously that we don't really need to get into how exactly that happened.
Well, that was going to be my
But
next
when you
question
look,
because I
okay, go ahead, go
think
ahead.
I think that right now this is still the most controversial move of the trade deadline. And so I do think a lot of people are
Yeah,
interested in, how did you make something like that happen?
okay. Well, I had been pestering Chuck for off and on the past season. I hadn't seen any moves made, and so I couldn't tell if that was oh, no one's asking or he doesn't want to trade anyone.
Mhm.
So your trade went through first. Right before that, though, he put Josh Allen, George Kittle. He put a slew of players on his trade block, including Josh Allen and AJ Brown.
Josh
I
Allen was on the
immediately
trade
just
block?
sent two. He was. He was.
Wow.
I immediately sent two offers for both individual LA.
Hmm.
And I saw a trade go through, and my heart jumped out of my soul. I thought, oh my gosh, I have Josh Allen or AJ Brown, one of those two. And I go to check the trade, and it was this one right here. And I look at it, and let's just take a
Got
minute
him.
to evaluate this one.
Yeah.
Um, I said, okay, good for Nate, but I was also like, I don't hate it for Charlie. Me personally, I'm not super high on Javante like years and years from now.
Yeah, kind of long
Um,
term.
right, he does the job for you. He may not do the job for Charlie. George Kittle, same thing. I think he does the job for you, but I'm not sure he's going to do the job for Charlie. Tucker Craft, I mean, people are people are divided. I think the Dynasty world loves Tucker Craft, but I mean, other people
I
in
can
our
tell.
league specifically don't like Tucker Craft, and I think our league is fickle when it comes to a lot of players, and one of them is
Yes,
Tucker Craft.
it was really true.
So
Like Javante Williams, some people can't stand him. Some
yeah,
people, it's the only person on earth they would trade anything for.
and we won't at that person, but that person is definitely out there.
Yeah.
So agreed on that point. So the reaction to this trade really was worrisome to me because
Mhm.
you would have thought that you just burned down New York City. Well,
Yeah.
I pull up my
It's
phone to
almost
text Chuck.
like imagining a Muslim being elected mayor of New York City in 2001.
You could just imagine, right?
Yeah.
So post this trade. So I'm in Orlando, right?
Mhm.
And on Sunday, this is one of the rare days where my sister-in-law and her husband Jonathan were both with us. And we have two children, me and Lily do. And so we're all crammed into the car and there's not enough room for me. So I'm like, I'll just lay in the back seat. So I'm laying down in the back seat driving home from dinner. And I'm dead silent because I see all this happen. And I pull
Mhm.
up my phone to text Charlie. I, I don't even click, the message bar. And he sends a message. He says, all right, let's trade. This is destiny,
I think this
right?
is the moment he decided to pull the trigger on the rebuild.
It is. I pull up his text message. I haven't sent anything yet, but I see his message go through. I said, oh, it's happening. This is going to happen. So then I say, hey, I said, I'd love one of these two players. Take a look at the two offers I've sent and tell me which one, tell me where we're at is really all I said. I said, tell me where we're at. And I would have been fine with one. But he comes back to me and he says, I can give you both for this package. Um, this package included one piece I really didn't want to give up and a piece that I thought, why are you asking for that? That's a little bit not what you should maybe ask for.
Is that Kyler Murray?
No, it was not Kyler. He was not asking for a QB, so he specifically was like, I would like receivers, I'd like running backs, and I was like, well, I really don't have anything for you there. So he was fine with if you'd pull up our original trade when you get the chance.
Yes.
So basically what I did was I said, I'm going to take away this. I'll just say it. He asked for the 101 and I was like, I think that's the one thing on my team I just can't quit, right?
Yeah.
So originally it's Keon Coleman, and it's the 101 and it's something else. And I came back, I was like, look, let me give you a quarterback. You can have Keon Coleman, and I made offers like you can have Matthew Golden instead if that helps. I said I'll give you your first pick back, and then I'll give you your second pick back. And I was like, this may not be terrible for him because he gets his first and second draft capital back.
Probably
Um,
early.
and I send this and I say, hey, listen, for Kyler or Keon, I can switch them out for either CJ or for Golden, and I'm texting up this, hey, this can happen, this can happen. He goes, actually, that's fine with me. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, all right. And that's so the moment that happens, mind you, people are still blowing up the group chat saying, Nate has ruined the league, Nate has ruined the league. Um,
Yes. Which I thought was very interesting that that was the one to do it.
Yeah, I didn't think that your trade was going to ruin the league, but I knew that when I hit submit, I knew that when I hit submit, right? And I knew that when I saw this trade has been completed,
Yeah.
I knew that there was going to be a pretty bad reaction to that one. And there was.
Yeah. And honestly, I think there have been other major trades that have shaped a lot of things. This is going to be the one that we look back on. Um, because the unpresident, the league commissioners coming together to ultimately make a whole new deal. And that's something we'd never seen before.
Yeah. And I'll just explain that bit a little bit too for your listeners. So after this happened, people were calling for my death. I was nailed
Yeah,
to a
this is the
cross. I had
behind the
a
scenes.
Yeah, I had a crown of thorns upon my head almost. You would have thought that you know, I mean, I think the response was more warranted than the response for yours was. So you're welcome for taking the heat off you.
Someone had
But
to do
I
it.
immediately called a an emergency press conference. The first thing I did was I said, "Hold on, let's make one thing clear. The only thing we veto." Oh boy. I said the only thing we veto in this league is collusion. And I said I made sure that Charlie was not doing this to give up on on his spot. I was making sure that Charlie's not just giving up. I did my diligence on that and I said, "Okay, do you want to do
Yes.
this?" And he said, "Yes."
Yeah, I get that.
Um, and so at that point, we as a league, we have the understanding that we're going to let stupid trades go through. We're going to let this happen. We're going to let people be grown men and make their decisions. And you know, Charlie's out on Josh Allen and he's out on AJ Brown. And he went to the guy who was pestering him all year about Josh Allen. He went to the guy who probably made the first two offers on those guys. Um,
Yeah, I'm probably was the
so
case.
so that was the first thing I made clear was we don't do vetoes. So let's shut that down real quick. But I hit the FaceTime button. I said emergency press conference. Anyone who has a problem with this, get in here. And I heard everyone out. And I think the consensus was, hey, for the health of the league, we can't have this. And if another dynasty league team manager would have done this trade, I don't think this would have happened. But since it
You
was
don't think
me,
they would have
because I'm a
reacted like that if it was
no,
me or
they
Josh?
they would have reacted. They would have
Oh,
reacted
okay.
if it was anyone other than me or Josh, I don't think there would have been a litigation process. Now, I'm just willing to wear that because of it comes with the job. Okay. I'm willing to wear that. And you were clear about, hey, I think you should just give up more. And I was like, listen, if it makes everyone feel better, I will include two more pieces. And that's what I did. I texted Chuck. I was like, is this fine? And this is after Nate cooked up a new trade. I don't know if you have that one ready.
Yes, that one's coming
But you
up.
add CJ Stroud and you add a 2027. I think it's a mid-second.
It's hard to project that far out.
Bang. My comments on this was that Nate is an absolute rat when it comes to Dynasty fantasy football because he did all this off his head and he managed to get us into a fair deal. Now, some people still don't like it, but this is what we're at now. And golly, I mean, a man, oh, gracious. I look at the value I give up, right?
This is as someone who was heavily involved in the litigation process here, and did kind of come up with this off the top of my head. I figured it was important to uh, get Charlie players who are actually playing football in real life. So not Kyler Murray, you know, uh, and different options on how he wanted to go forward. And I still don't like this trade. I feel like in my personal opinion, if you're gonna down tier, you down tier one tier. So like a Josh Allen for a Hurts plus, or or Herbert plus. Go take a step down and get a little bit on the side.
And
And
that's certainly
ultimately,
what I would have done.
he wanted a different approach.
And he wanted a different
He
approach.
he
Yep.
wanted to fill his shotgun with a bunch of shots, and ultimately this is going to be an early first. And he had an old team, and to be, was it 3-8 with an old team? That's a bad place to be. But ultimately, like you're saying, our job isn't to prevent people from making bad decisions. There have been plenty of those trades. Some have gone down today, last 48 hours. Um, so we'll stop busting your chops on this. What's the fate of the nicotine ninjas?
Yeah. Um, well, it's tough. it's tough to truly forecast the future. So much rides on what I do with this draft, right? That's the biggest issue is that um some of this was remedied by getting Josh Allen and AJ Brown and earlier in the year getting Joe Burrow. Um trading for Quinshon Judkins, drafting Woody Marks. Like I have a few pieces that may make some waves, and some that will hold the team together. But so much of my team's future depends on the 2026 draft, and the 2026 draft is going to be it's going to be tough because I'm not 100% sure um, what's going to happen.
It doesn't seem quite as deep as the 25 and quite frankly the star-studded 24 class.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. This is maybe not the best year for me to hypothetically get the first overall pick. But the player that is there hypothetically at 101, that's the guy I want. I don't know if that's the guy I'll get anymore. Um, but we'll see. I do want to speak a little bit on Steve's team. I think Steve's team's gone incredibly well. Steve's team got a lot better last night.
I
Um,
agree with that. I know a lot of people
and
didn't
to
like
make
that
my final
trade.
statement on,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think the group chat really roasted Steve on that. Don't agree whatsoever, and you maybe the only person here who's on my side in this because I know I could have got more for Herbert, but I took a discount to give him to Steve's team, and that's not charity. But that is, hey, I think this is what's free and available. And especially with Steve being that he was my target with Herbert ultimately with some of his other pieces, it came down to, hey, Steve, are you ever going to move these guys for Herbert? And I'm talking next year. Is this possible? And the answer I got was it wasn't a no, but it also didn't make me feel like it was going to happen.
Mm.
So I said, all right, Steve, look, I do want to move Herbert. And I'm on the phone with you right now. Can we make something happen? And he was like, you know, it was a situation where he was like, everyone is hounding me for a player, for a star, and they're offering me the moon. And I was listening to these offers and I was like, Steve, that's incredible value. And he was like, but I don't want to give up those players. Like, look at my team. I don't want to do that. And I was like, you do have a great team. So I was like, well, if I make it to where you don't give up any of those players, will you pull that trigger? He was like, yeah. So, despite me not being able to get that second first out of him, which was tough, and we probably went back and forth for 30 minutes on that.
Yeah,
Steve is
I
a
bet
tough
so. Because
negotiator.
from my sources indicate that you may have had an offer of two firsts available in the past, but it's hard, you know. It's hard to when it comes to actually getting it done.
Yeah, yeah. No, th this was the only material offer for two firsts that I had. This is the only offer where the person who was talking to me actually had two firsts to give. And so in that way, I felt okay. I'm actually negotiating in the real world and not in hypothetical fantasy land. Um, and so the feeling of I'm giving up on that hypothetical trade by doing this was really only 10% there because I was told by that individual, hey, I'm out. I was like, all right, you're out. And I didn't know if that was because his trade with the other dude didn't go through or if it was just because he was tired of it. And I was like, that's fine, I'm tired of it too. I
Yeah,
think
my only prediction is when Jorge has time of day, Jorge shall play. Um,
that's true.
I was kind of shocked by the trade he made today, and he put Jalen Hurts immediately up on the block. That man will make a trade.
Did he actually?
He did.
Can we talk about that for a second? Can you pull that up for
So this is him on the
we
trade
love
block,
growing pains.
Jalen Hurts. And here was the trade that got him Jalen Hurts over
Let
here.
me tell you this.
Let me just say this.
Let me just say this. I could say bullets are gonna spray. I think
That's
that
on.
we know one thing about George, and that is he wants the 101 for 2027. He just gave his 101 to Josh. How do you feel about we're not even in 2027 yet. We're not even in 2026 yet. And he's so confident that he's going to win games and that Josh is going to lose games to where he's going to be the 101. I'm sorry, but I'm not making that deal. I'd rather control my own destiny. I'd rather be bad and control my own destiny.
Josh is the type of dude who likes winning fantasy games. And I think it's important that, you know, he got Daniel Jones, the current number 5 QB. And I think he's a regression candidate. Let's say he regresses to QB8, QB10. He's putting points on the board.
It's just
BTJ. I mean, I'm not a BTJ believer as in a top 10, but he's gonna be top 20,
what
you
if he's
know.
not on the Jaguars, then he is top 10.
That could very well be the case. Quentin Johnson, Mac Jones are fine. And those firsts, Josh is not someone who loses fantasy games. It's not in
He
his
he
blood.
he went 7-3 and said, "Yeah, I'm probably not going to win, so I'm in a tank." What does that tell you about a guy who, sure, it was a facade, sure, his team maybe wouldn't have competed, but I just don't see Josh. I don't see him losing more than, let's just say, 7 games.
Yeah,
And I'm not so sure that gets you 101 in this league.
no, it doesn't. I think there are other strong contenders for 101. Um, that he doesn't have those picks for. And so, you know, Jorge is the type of dude where he will go get his guy. And so, I won't be shocked if he still gets the 101 at the end of the day.
He could.
But I don't think it's from a pick he has on his roster right now.
I'm starting to think that way as well.
Yeah.
Man, what an incredible trade deadline week. I'd like to end with this. Just I've never seen so many trades go through in a league in general. But
Especially not by the draft.
exactly. And we have so many trades go through in this league all the time. But this week has been special. We gotta give it to this week, man. This week
Yeah.
has been special. And I'm happy to have been a part of it. I'm happy to see all the trades go through. I mean, teams are changing as we speak. Um, and yeah, final thoughts are, I felt wronged 2 years ago when I was passed up on a T. Higgins trade, and I can't help but laugh in an ivory tower about that right now because I did eventually swing T. Higgins for Joe Burrow, and now I have Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. The team is different, and I'm sad about it, and I'm mourning that. But when I look back at my crusade that I announced, I can't help but say it is in full swing, and
Well,
um, and I'm feeling great about it.
I guess final question here. Getting those two assets, are you worried that the 101 might slip
What
out
do you mean
in
by
the
that?
last moment?
No, I'm confident that I will get my guy. We'll put it to you that way.
All right. Thank you for taking the time here. We'll
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
let you go. This is going to be our extended episode of the series.
Yes,
So
sir.
it
I'm
was
excited.
nice to get a deep dive here.
Love it, man. All right. Well, I appreciate you having me, and you have a blessed rest of your day, man. Happy
Yes,
trade
sir.
week.
You have a good one.
You too. Bye.